Have you ever wanted Binding of Isaac, but Super Metroid? Because that's this game. A Robot Named Fight is a roguelite Metroidvania that goes for the Metroid over the Vania. Available for the PC and the Nintendo Switch. And it's a grand old time. Let's jump right into that. An evil flesh monster is threatening all of robot kind. One of these robots adopts the name Fight and starts to... well, you get the idea. This game is literally a roguelite Super Metroid with a dab of Mega Man and even a little bit of Symphony X. A symphony, that's a band. That's not even Symphony of the Night. You run around exploring the map, killing stuff, and getting new powers. If you die, that's it. You start over. New map, randomly generated. New item progression, randomly generated. A new way to die, randomly generated. Unless it's spikes. It's always spikes. No. In true Metroidvania fashion, you'll come across some sort of barrier and be like, I can't open this. So you'll have to leave and come back later when you have the appropriate equipment. There are several types of power-ups in this game. Passive stat boosts like health, speed, and damage that are hidden throughout rooms. The rooms are marked on the map, but sometimes you just end up shooting at every block in the entire goddamn room for like 5 minutes until you finally find the item barely on the other square of the map and you're like, really? There are various power-ups for your main weapon, as well as upgrades that give you different weapons. The other weapons run on an energy system, kind of like Mega Man. There are also active abilities that cost energy, like check out this energy axe. Energy regenerates very slowly over time, but enemies can also drop it, along with health and scrap, a currency that you can use to trade to the various shops and shrines that appear in the different areas throughout the game. Every area has a boss. Bet you didn't see that one coming. It can be a variety of bosses. Sometimes the first boss is a pile of mouths. Sometimes it's... pile of mouths again. Well, that's not right. Sometimes it's, this. There are 2 save rooms per run. These act as respawn chambers that will resurrect you on death, but they break afterwards. You also have to find them, so if you die before you can get to one, then, you're dead. For progression, doing certain things in your run will unlock new items for future runs, and beating the game will add new things, so there's definitely some replayability there. Replayability? That sounds like it's part of the... First off, the game looks pretty good. The enemies are grotesquely thingish, and I think the atmosphere is pretty strong here, especially for a 2D pixel art game. The item variety is pretty high here. You can definitely go several runs without seeing the same exact item progression every time. Sometimes you get a mobility item first, sometimes you get an energy weapon first, sometimes you get a basic attack modifier first, sometimes you get die first. Actually, the difficulty curve in this game is pretty good. It starts off pretty easy and then progressively gets harder as the game goes along. There's not many spots where I've ever felt like the game just went, you die now! I really like how every barrier can be solved with different power-ups. For example, there's a gate that can only be opened by hitting an orb that's behind a wall. You could either get the power-up that lets your basic attack shoot through walls, or you could get the railgun, which is an energy beam that shoots through walls, or even the flamethrower goes through walls. I thought I was doing one of these alternative solutions one time, but then I ended up getting stuck behind a wall I couldn't jump over and soft-locking the game. Wait, oh, I got out! There aren't really bad items in this game either, so you don't have to worry about getting crappy drops. The worst you can do is probably getting a mobility item before you fight the first boss, but most of the first bosses are really easy, so it's not even that big a deal. The save rooms are a really nice touch, saving you from dying to something really stupid, which I did a few times, almost always actually. Health drops aren't usually a problem in this game because they come from dead enemies, and enemies respawn when you leave the room and come back, so you can farm health if you really need it. Health tanks also completely heal all your health, so you never end up in a situation where you're in the sky with 5 health and the only thing on you is 1 chicken wing and 3 spell books. Wait, what? Every once in a while, you will enter a room and a random enemy will be powered up. Killing that enemy will drop a little something, maybe a rare scrap, maybe a power-up. This adds a little spice to backtracking through rooms you've already been to. The backtracking isn't that bad though, and I didn't really find myself getting too lost. The map is pretty good at telling you what's going on. There's a boss that's literally just Ceres from Metroid Fusion. And that hits me right in the goddamn nostalgia bone. Like many other roguelites, When you get in the rhythm of the game and you're just going through and you're just absolutely murdering everything, it just feels good, you know? Every run you do has a seed, and you could actually do a seeded run if you want to run a specific map, which is neat. I don't know any other roguelites that let you do that. You can't get any achievements on a seeded run though. If you enter the seed, engage Ridley, motherfucker, then it starts a cool boss rush mode where you get a power-up in between fighting every boss in the game. That's a nice touch. The game also has a really nice stat page with stuff like lowest percent completion. Yeah, this was made by a Metroid fan. I think I've done enough praising though. Is there anything wrong with the game? Does it have any... Alright. So let's get all game designy here for a second. In Metroid, Samus is 2 blocks high. If you stand and shoot at a block and then crouch and shoot at the block below it, you can walk through the gap. Now Fight is 3 blocks high. If you do the same thing, he'll just be hitting his head on the 3rd block, unable to go through. So you have to either try and do a small jump and line the shot up, or go right up to the block, press R to aim diagonally up, and then shoot at the block. This might not seem like a big deal, but when you have to do it constantly, it gets a little bit annoying. Although, if Fight is doing the somersault jump, he can go through 2 block gaps. But he can also get stuck in 2 block gaps, like, get me out of here! The enemies in the first area are all tiny, except for this guy. So you have to do a lot of diagonal down and ducking and shooting. That's a pretty small nitpick, but you know, it is what it is. You can get stuck in spikes sometimes. I'm pretty sure it has to do with when you get hit, you get knocked back and downward, so if you don't jump out fast enough, you become vulnerable again and get hit and go back down, and you immediately have to jump or else you'll get hit again. The shrines that you offer stuff to are pretty cryptic. I had to look up what you do for them, but once I did, it was really obvious. Without spoiling it, you have to offer them a multiple of that shrine's special number, which is a lot closer than I would have thought. That's all I can really complain about though. At first, when I was gonna review this game, I was gonna say, meh, it's okay, but the more I play of it, the more I think I like it. I feel like it has enough content for at least a few runs, and at $13, it's not a hard sell. I can fully recommend that you fight your way over the mountains of flesh and reclaim robot kind's future. Don't forget to smash like and subscribe. No, but for real, it really does help. Let me know in the comments your favorite indie game that people probably have never heard of so I can check it out. It might even be the next video. A 2 Lanes out.